Hey everyone, Noah Zerby here. This is one of a series of short videos addressing concepts and theories in the field of international relations. This video focuses in particular on offensive and defensive neorealism, the two primary subfields in structural or neorealism. If you're not already familiar with neorealism, you may want to go back and watch that video, but if you're ready, let's get started with offensive and defensive neorealism. Both offensive and defensive neorealism begin with the same foundational assumptions about the centrality of states as rational and unitary actors, the nature of the international system, and the central importance of anarchy in conditioning state behavior, as well as the overriding concern states have with their national security. These assumptions are common to nearly all structural realists, and we considered them in an earlier video. But from these starting points, offensive and defensive realists diverge in their understandings. As we'll see in just a moment, offensive and defensive neorealists differ in two central areas. First, they differ in their analysis of the influence of the international system, that is, whether anarchy leads states to maximize their security or to maximize their power and influence, and we'll see that these are not at all the same thing. And second, they differ in their interpretation regarding whether or not the consequences of expansion are profitable. That is, whether or not conquest and expansion by the state increases the power and security of the conquering state or not. Let's start with defensive neorealism. Defensive realism originated in Kenneth Waltz's formation of neorealism. According to Waltz and other defensive neorealists, the anarchic nature of the international system compels states to be cautious. Their overriding concern must be for survival, and as a result, states are generally risk-adverse. Indeed, for defensive neorealists, states will often moderate their policies to be more defensive in their foreign policy. As Waltz argues, the first concern of states is not to maximize power, but to maintain their position in the system. In many instances, aggression on the parts of states is ultimately self-defeating, as other states will rally together to prevent any one state from becoming too powerful. As Jack Snyder, another defensive realist, argues, international anarchy punishes aggression, it does not reward it. Consequently, defensive realists contend that the benefits of an aggressive foreign policy, that is of conquest, rarely outweigh the negatives, that is its costs. This is especially true, according to defensive realists, in the context of nuclear weapons, which exponentially increase the cost of war between great powers. Offensive neorealism traces its roots to John Mearsheimer's book, The Tragedy of Great Power Politics. According to offensive realists, the anarchic nature of the international system encourages power maximization by states. States are constantly striving to be the dominant power, to achieve a dominant position in the international system. The anarchic nature of the international system forces states to behave aggressively in the pursuit of their own interest. It differs from defensive realism in that offensive realism tends to emphasize the accumulation of power needed by states to ensure their own security and to achieve a satisfactory level of safety. But this pursuit of power, rather than the question of survival emphasized by defensive realists, tends to lead to a more pessimistic conclusion regarding the likelihood of conflict in international relations. While defensive realists contend that states are primarily interested in maintaining the existing balance of power, offensive realists contend that states are power-maximizing agents seeking to expand their power to the greatest possible level, usually at the expense of other states. As Mearsheimer argues, states will always, quote, look for opportunities to alter the balance of power by acquiring additional increments of power at the expense of potential rivals, since the greater the military advantage of one state over another, the more secure it is. Indeed, for offensive realists, hegemony is the goal of all powerful states. Thus, states seek to become the dominant actor within their region, India and South Asia, China and East Asia, or the United States and the Americas, and so on. While hegemons may attempt to spread their power globally, they also actively try to prevent competitors from rising to challenge them within the region where they exercise dominance. So, in sum, for offensive realists, the anarchic nature of the international system forces states to maximize their power and to dominate other actors, increasing their odds of survival in the process. The ultimate goal of every major power, according to offensive realists, is dominance or hegemony. The rationale is that the more powerful state becomes, the less likely it is to suffer aggression from other states, as weaker states will be dissuaded from attacking. But for defensive realists, a different picture emerges. Major powers seek to maximize their security, but not necessarily their power within the international system. The balance of power encourages states to pursue a more moderated foreign policy and provides few incentives for aggressive expansion. Indeed, aggression, competition, and expansion are often counterproductive according to defensive realists, as they're likely to provoke a response from other states, thereby exacerbating the security dilemma. That concludes our very brief introduction to offensive and defensive neorealism. For more on the theories and issues in international relations, please be sure to check out the other videos in this series. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.